again, everyone. It's Annette Green here, working in my Elizabeth Craft Designs Vintage Black Full-Size Planner, working in my weekly 2023 planner. It's my memory keeping planner. Each page is 1 week, and if you've been following me, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. As you can see, we are moving through the weeks here, and I do have a playlist, of course, of all the week's videos that I will link below, but we are over here, and I've already done it, on week 22. We left off last week with week 21, all about Jamie and their second graphic novel, so you can go back and watch that one. That was kind of fun. And then this one I have complete because I had to do the video a little differently this time. You'll find that when you go to watch it and watch my process, I am doing a voiceover. We had a very busy lively weekend out here by the pool, so it was just best for me to go through the process and then dub over with my voice later. So that's going to be a little different this time. So let's get right into it. Alright, so something I have never done before is stencil on my page. So here's my page. I'm going to try to stencil a little color behind here just because it's a little bit plain for what I want to do. And so I have selected one of the stencils from the Planner Stencils 2. Now I have this scrap piece of paper here that I tested on. You can certainly do that if you're not sure how it's going to look and you don't want to ruin your actual page. Just grab a scrap. And so here is from Stencils, Planner Stencils 2. Like I said, it's this great grid pattern. And I'm just going to use some soft brushes and two different colors. I've decided on like a shade of blue and a kind of a shade of orange, but here I'm using Rusty Hinge, so it's not terribly orange, a little deeper in color. And I'm just going to start to rub this on here. I'm not really going with a super intentional plan here, and I'm not going really heavy. I'm not covering every area either. I'm just going to kind of work it in, and you'll see as I'm going along, I'm making a somewhat of a trail for the eye to follow. Now, when I get pictures on here, you might not see that as much, but do you see the flow here? That's kind of what I'm intending as I'm laying down the color. And I'm not trying to line up any of these little grid squares or anything. I'm just moving the stencil as needed. It's supposed to be very random and, you know, just a nice little background. But I do want a little blue because a lot of my photos and some of my accents have blue, so I'm going to use some broken china now. And I'm just going to fill in some of those extra spaces. Same stencil. Again, not really lining it up, just getting it on the page. And I'll fill in some of those open spaces that I didn't lay down the Rusty Hinge. Once I'm happy with my colors, I'm just going to grab my spray bottle. It just has water in it. And I'm going to spritz this fairly generously. I'm not soaking it, but just enough to get those colors to sort of interact and blend, oxidize. And this gives it even more of an irregular kind of textural background to it, not very purposeful. And then just to kind of speed things up, I'm going to heat set it with my heat tool, and I'll be ready to move on. And I just wanted to show you my little planner that I keep with all my stencils in it. It is a full-size planner, and it's the jeans one that had the jean pocket on it. I'm not sure if this is available anymore, but you can see that I have stenciled on the cover. I tuck all my little pens in there, and I have all the stencils that I own inside of here, and I also made like a sample page. And I just used soft finish white so I could get an idea of what that would look like on that particular cardstock. But you can see that they are numbered. There's a 1 up there. So there is a planner stencil set 1, which has several, and then there's a planner set 2. And there's that number set that I used on the cover. So this is a great way for me to reference not only the stencil itself, but what it looks like when it's actually stenciled. And in some cases like this one, I've stenciled 2 different ways. So it's just a great reference. And there's the grid that I did use, and that's how that would look with different colors. Yeah, just underuse these stencils. I don't think to use them, so they're great. Okay, and back to getting ready for my page. I have grabbed the number 2 from the Stitched Letters and Number die, which I have been using for the week 22. I also have June mounted on a stamp block here. Boy, this is an old one. Look at this. I've been going through my stuff and selling off a lot of craft things, as you all know, and this was one that I just couldn't part with because I had never used it, and it's just so versatile for planners. I also grabbed some new goodies that I got at the Scrapbook convention that I was at, CKC, and this is by 49 and Market, the Ticket Essentials. These are fantastic, and I think fairly new. They're perforated tickets and stamps, and there's absolutely no adhesive on the back at all. They do have that perf where you can tear them. You can use either side. I have torn away a little bit, but it comes on a complete roll like this. And then there's a lighter blue tickets, and then of course there's these postage stamps, and I just love them, and I love them so much I had to buy some red ones too. And like I said, I went to the Creating Keepsakes convention, and this was my wristband, but it was such a bright pink. I don't think I want to use that. I'm going to use something from the like brochure thingy that they handed out to us. I also have the parking ticket, little half. So I'm trying to gather some items to use in my layout. And so here you can see that I cut out my 22 from this orange cardstock, and I was going to use the numbers, but then I looked at the negative and thought, well, that's a little more interesting. So I am just going to fussy cut around here and use this instead of the actual solid numbers. And I think that'll be kind of fun to have a little show through of that darker blue stuff, as you'll see when I start to layer some items on the page. After I cut this out, of course, I'm going to ink the edges a little bit just to make sure we don't have that white core showing. But I think this is going to be kind of fun. Okay, I've got my photos printed out here. You do see some extras laying there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to start with this plan that I'm having. I'm just kind of laying things down to get an idea. But I think I want this large blue ticket back here and my vertical light blue ticket strips running up and down the page. I've got my 22 here, and I'm just tucking in my parking ticket kind of receipt. I have that logo from the brochure. It may go behind, in front. I'm not really sure yet. That's to decide a little bit later, but you see I'm just sort of getting a loose plan. Okay, and I've got my photos here. I'm going to talk about this photo a little bit later. It's kind of funny, but it is, there's my June. It's going to be my focal image. And June, I think I want to go there. And then I've got the option of these 3 photos all together like that on the white, but then I don't know if I like it, so I think I'm just going to matte behind each one and put those 3 photos at the bottom there. The white isn't really working for me. I think I want to do orange. There's a lot of orange in some things here. I have the Jazz Fest logo because we went to the Jazz Fest. So there was a lot of things we did, but let's talk about this photo here. It's kind of funny. So there is myself and Lynn Blair, a friend, and we went to the show together, and there was this picture of Lynn by herself. I had to take it, and then she took a picture of me, right? I didn't necessarily want to use the one of just our faces, so I took my background in graphic design, and I cut Lynn out of the photo in Photoshop and put her in this photo with me. So that's just something I know how to do, and I like to do when I need to. And I've got my orange photo mats. I've got a little tag, Shakespeare in the Park, our first and last, because it wasn't very good. And there is a picture of it there holding the brochure but sometimes we don't like everything that we do. We try things out. So let's get this finished up. Okay, the page is done. Maybe a little busy for some of you. It doesn't bother me. And in person, actually, it looks really nice. I was very happy with how it turned out. I'm going to get it back into my planner here. The Jazz Fest was fantastic, I have to say. That was our favorite thing we did this week. Of course, the Scrapbook Convention was fun too. It was great to see Lynn again. But that is it for me this week. Week 22 is done. I'll be back next week. I thank you for joining me. Hope you like it, and take care. Thanks for watching.